Hi everyone, this is Norman Kochnick here for Eyes on Cricket. Again, Norman Kochnick, Eyes on Cricket. I've got myself a new coloured shirt today, green. Boy, have I been busy. I've been to so many events this week. In particular, this morning, there was an event. It was a memorial for Alan Davidson, the former Australian left-arm cricketer. In fact, it's more or less an all-rounder. Played during the 50s and 60s. He passed away only a short while ago, and they had a memorial today. They had ex-Prime Minister John Howard, they had Governor Generals Peter Cosgrove, they had dignitaries, they had the Premier of New South Wales, they had ex-cricketers like Mark Taylor, Jimmy Maxwell, the commentator. It was an amazing group of people, very distinguished. Rodney Cavalier, the former trust members. It was amazing. It was quite an uplifting event. So that was what I did today. I've also been involved with Australian cricket. There's been a lot of stuff going on with the BBL and the lead up to the Ashes. But more importantly, we're going online now as India only 1 wicket away to get Southie. They're actually now 9 for 158, and they're only a matter of. This is quite an amazing victory, I must say. I'm here to India. They've done a great job. I'm very impressed with the way they've finished this match off, considering they haven't got Kohli, Rahane. Oh, that's right, they have got Rahane. Kohli, Rahul, Robert Sharma, Rishabh Pant. A whole host of players are not actually there. So it's quite, hi there from Thurun V and No Name. Hello, how are you? We're here and we're in amongst amazing matches going on. Really, the full review will be on today. So we're gonna have a quick little look at quite a few things. Let's have a look what's going on here. There's just unending amount of stuff that's come up. It's just been phenomenal. I've just had so much go on. Let's have a look what else we've got. My partner Sony's there already. And you've got even got Shapali there. We put her on there too. So what else we got? Winnie can come on. Monty Panasar okay. So there's quite a few people who I can try to get on. Of course, everybody's watching the last parts of this match, understandably. We've got Gill, Quick with Norman, Sumitra, David Grandy. Siddharth's actually there too, so get Siddharth on. It's an unusual time of the day, of course, most people aren't available. I'll try and get Nalakshi there somewhere. I think I saw Nalakshi's name there. Quite a few people. So, yes, we have Ashwin has overtaken Harbhajan Singh. That's correct. Harbhajan, he is now the third highest wicket taker. He's behind, obviously. We've got Kumble up there. We've also got, oh my God, I've got the names now. Kumble was certainly one. Amazing result, really. Really quite impressive. Also, Ishant Sharma is not all that far away as well. He's certainly gotten up there, hasn't he? He's fifth now, and Jadeja was 10th. Let's have a look at most wickets. Obviously, Kapil Dev, of course, is the other. So we've got Kumble, who was actually ranked 4th. Then we've got Kapil Dev, who's 2nd in India, and we move on to Ashwin, who goes ahead of Harbhajan Singh. And then you have the likes of Ishant Sharma, who's on about 311. And then it goes down to a few bowlers. Then we've got 10. We've got Jadeja. So it's quite an impressive situation to do. So how are we going with the score-wise here? Quite incredible indeed. This is a great result. Considering the players that they have out, there's no doubt that you've got to take the hat off to the way that they've done that. So let's have a look here. I'm just going to pull up the match. But yeah, New Zealand had a chance to win today. They didn't show any intent at all. That's very well put. Ross Taylor looks completely out of sorts, I must say. Yeah, I never expected Sharma there. He's managed to ignite it, I suppose, well. He's He's fifth. He's equal at the moment with the. Of course, we're looking at the last pair. Of course, you know, we've got Zahid Khan. I think Zahid Khan's the next, isn't he? Let's have a look. I'm just making sure. Pretty sure that Zahid Khan's the next one. Shreyas Iyer had a magnificent match, hasn't he? Shreyas Iyer had a magnificent match. The fact that he's now taken, we scored a century and a 50, and that's pretty damn good effort. If anyone's, they've got players around the back there, and so let's have a look at this one. Sharma's got his 311. Yeah, Zahid Khan, he's equal to Zahid Khan. But yeah, it's quite an incredible little effort there. So Ishan Sharma, he's not bowling at the moment. Jadeja, what's he on? He's Kimon Roach. Why do they keep showing? We're not showing the other Indian bowlers there. Ishan Sharma, 311. And this Jadeja got. Oh, jeez. There's going to be a wicket. It's like hand grenades being thrown down. Where's Jadeja? What's Jadeja on this? I can't. I'm going to quickly have a look where I don't think he's that low down. I think he might be in the 220s. Where is he? There's Srinath. Jadeja's actually got 232. He's just gone ahead of Kemar Roach. And Neil Wagner, who hasn't played this match at all, which is a bit unusual. Yes, are we online, guys? I'm not seeing anyone on the. What's going on here? Are you online? Because I'm not seeing numbers for some strange reason. Let's have a look here. Yeah, I've got live viewers. I haven't got one. Over need to bowl. So I'm saying, well, we've got Ajas, that's been out with Ravindra there, who's seems to survive quite well for a little while there. Great situation, man. So we'll probably get a few more people once the game's over. Today's just bowling hand grenades at the moment. Phenomenal to watch. Today's should never be left out of the side. He's a magnificent batsman, incredible fielder, and a very good spin bowler. And having now got how many wickets? He's got 232 wickets. He's about Chris Martin, who, well, can't bat. The New Zealanders in front of him, but he's even getting close to the Andy. Garfield's has 235 wickets. He was the best all around the world. Today's not far from them. The two umpires are going off having a look at something's not right. They're not looking at a light meter, are they? Oh my God, that'll be a disaster if they go off for a light meter. They're actually considering going off. They're going off. They're going off for light. That'll be a disaster at my down. Are they going off? Now the umpires are considering it. No. Okay, so they're just certainly bowling for some spinners. They're looking at that. It's rather incredible. I'm looking at that at all. I'm a bit shocked. Very stern-faced Joe Root in his interview. The first 6 questions he copped was about racism. And before he even talk about cricket, he had to talk about racism. So he's certainly copping a bit of flack there, that's for sure, the poor guy. Now, as I said earlier, I was at Alan Davidson's memorial. His ashes were actually scattered or placed at the SCG2. Then he has the Alan Davidson Gates, great ground, as you know. And he would have seen my photos there. I'm very proud of that. So here we go. Ooh. It'd be some epic battle if they could keep themselves out of this one. It was looking very, very hazy, looking very, very overcast. Axe's backing, Axar boxels Bobbert. Considering the conditions, Neil Wagner would have been ineffective. He depends a lot on balance and pace to beat the batsman. Southey was a position was effective. Yeah, okay, that's true. But then Wagner pulls some rabbits out of the hat, though, and that's what I'm always suggesting. I think he's good for that too. So yeah, 36 more to get to 20,000, guys. 36 more, getting closer. Excited about that. Ooh, he's played and missed it. Barrett's been a fantastic keeper too. Ridham and Saha's days have to be numbered. That has to be his last test, really. Barrett should be the backup keeper without a doubt. Even though Saha did better okay with his 61 that he got. He hasn't impressed well enough, I don't think. He got 5 around the back, including 6 around the back, including a keeper. Ravindra could make a name for himself if he gets this match out of the hands of a very desperate Indian side. But then you're under strength. No Rohit Sharma, no KL Rahul, no Virat Kohli, no Rishabh Pant. And you would argue that probably some of this bowling attack that could have perhaps put, the likes of I've got his name. What's his name? Your opening bowler. Tell me the name, guys. The opening bowler for the impressive fast bowler. Who have you got? What's his name? I can't believe I forgot it. Bumrah. So you got Bumrah, Pant, Rahul, Rohit, and Virat. It's 5 at least. And you might be able to throw a few more in there too. I mean, I think there's a few other players you might. So KL Rahul, certainly. Dravid looks very a bit of a smile on his face. So I'm just gonna promote that. It certainly is. On racism. All right, so quick mate, how are you? I can see you're there. I'm going to get back to you about the other situation as well, so we will talk about that. Quick mate, we're going to do some collaborations in the future, hopefully as well. That will be good. Joe Root is certainly the discussion on racism is quite pertinent, of course, the whole situation which he's facing. That's going to be an interesting discussion on racism. Let's have a look here. Okay. Yes, it's been an amazing set of days. As I said to you, you desperately need to find some real quickies, especially some lefties. Well, I think they've got the talent. I think there's no issue with the talent. They've been some great bowlers in there, and they've got plenty of bowlers that they can. Yeah, Bumrah, Shami, Bhuvaneshwar as well, of course. They're all there. And almost up to 8 players, you would argue, out. And Siraj, of course, as well. So you had, let's go through them. Rohit and Rahul, Virat, Pant, Bumrah, Shami, Bhuvaneshwar. That's 7. And then you had obviously then Siraj, 8. And quite a few blokes out. So interesting discussion on racism. There we are. Okay, let's have a look here. Let's have a look. So let's go back to that. Just want to pull up that game. Are we any closer to wicket falling? And they were getting a little bit twitchy. If I can recall correctly, Munshi made a statement that not all Englishmen are racist. Then why do you need permission to look into racism? No, it's true. It's just try and get a hold of Munshi and see what he's there. Because we've got plenty of discussion we'd like to have with him, haven't we? Copy. I wouldn't mind having those guys. And we'll have one during the time, obviously, with the Australian series perking up too. I'm going to get Reg on if I can get him on. It's also a work day, you know. I mustn't forget. No, I can't expect them to just jump on in the middle of the day when this is a time slot. What time is it now? It's 9:40. So it's about 11:46 in the morning there. So it's probably a height of work time for them all. So 9 for 160 on New Zealand. Ajaz is 2, and Ravindra's very capably on 14. So he has Rachin, which Rachin's his name is, that which is a combination of Sachin and Rahul, they say, using a DSC bat, which is an Indian bat, really it's just a sticker. The bat's probably from an English willow company. Ooh, keeping low. Keeping low indeed. This is nerve-wracking. Luke Ronchi there, who's actually Australian, who's involved with the coaching staff of New Zealand. It was not long ago he was a player. If it's not that blatant racism that is the problem, it's the casual kind that goes unnoticed and normalised. That's true. You can't call someone like what I call was he dropped? Looks like he's dropped off Aksar. So I mean the way that Pujara was actually called Kevin, wasn't it? And that was meant to be funny. Well, in some people's eyes it could be funny, in some people's eyes it could not be funny. So there's actually Patel, the brand new ball, he's popped it up and it's gone quite aerial. It was in the air for a long enough time. So 72. Four. 874 videos I'm on now. It's quite incredible. 874, 565 recorded, and some 309. This is the 309th. That's effectively live. Let me just select what is this? This is the India versus New Zealand membership fans. Let's call it India versus New Zealand. Well, that's huge. Yeah. Okay, change has been saved. Okay. Let's just push up. So, okay. Umpires again looking at light meters, and this is agonising for India to watch someone pulling out these sort of things at this stage of the day. Well, then the other question is who will replace, when the likes of Kohli come back, who goes out of the team? Does Shreyas Iyer stay? Agarwal, you would argue, would have to be one of the first to go. Even Gill would have to think of himself as going if both Rohit and Rahul come back and Virat Kohli come back. Well, then Shreyas Iyer has to go as well. So, or is it Rahane, or is it Pujara? Well, it's going to be interesting who they actually end up deciding who's going to go there. Ajaz and Ravindra, two Indian-born or Indian heritage fellows playing against India. It's quite interesting. It's India versus India, you would argue now. It's quite an incredible mixture of players out there. Two men with absolute Indian names, with Indian derivation, playing against India. Well, the same would be with Josh English. Josh English, if you hear him speak, he's got a heavy English, well, relatively heavy English accent. He's playing for Australia as a potential keeper. That's most interesting as well. Let's have a look here. It's kept low. Jadeja and Aksa Patel, two of the best bowlers of our least mission, along with Ashwin as well. There's a lot of very nerve-wracking. It's coming up to 4:21 p.m. in India. There's everybody on it. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the players, plus the bowler makes 9, and the keeper 10. There's only one out. I'd be giving it a bit more if I was him. Dravid's first test match, he'd want to be very proud to win. Holding it down very well. A lot of tension. If this ends in a draw, Rahane would go along with Shubman. Well, Ajinka's settling Jadeja down a bit. Umashalov can't bowl. Isham Sharma's, if I'm not wrong, still injured. How many overs are left? Just a bit more experimental, like a straight couple of straight ball. And one guy has to come over a long distance. There's an argument going on between the batters and the batters are trying to walk, are they? Calling light. If they're offered light, the batsman will go. They're pulling out the light meter again, and India's not happy. The batsmen are ready to walk off at the drop of a hat here. Drama, high drama here. Ravindra's quite quick to want to walk off. The light meter guy's there, and the New Zealanders are telling him to come off. This is drama. This is a thriller, yes, but it's more drama. The bad light will stop playing. Hang on, he's looking at the light meter again. He's suggesting they should walk off. Looks like they're going to go. If they're nodding his head, looks like the batsmen are falling. Once they call off for bad light, that's it. New Zealand are actually very happy. They're shaking each other's hands. New Zealand's are very happily looking at a draw here. And Rahane's not happy. The umpires are just saying, well, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Pujara's not happy. Rahane's trying to discuss the toss here. The umpires are saying, if the bad light calls play, the batsman walk off, that's it. And you can't imagine the light getting any better. Looks like we've got a draw here from 9 for 165. Looks like the two New Zealand batsmen, Ravindra and Ajaz, have actually been able to survive. Remarkable. A draw. Once we start seeing them, I mean, New Zealand players are already rejoicing. They're celebrating. You'd have to argue this is going to be a draw. And that's really frustrating for I think India deserved to win this. Ashwin, Aksa, Patel, Jadeja all bowled very well in that last innings. And they're walking off without a victory, and they clearly were well ahead, needing just the one wicket. Oh, God. Williamson's on the field here. He's coming on. He's smiling. Rahane's walking off, and they're shaking hands. So that's it. They've conceded a draw here, which is like a win to New Zealand under the circumstances. And there you go. Dravid would not be happy, but he didn't lose the match at least, considering he had anywhere up to 8 players out of his team, and he was able to come out with a draw. And New Zealand, of course, had Conway out, and you would argue maybe Wagner and Bolt, and a few out themselves. But Ravindra and Ajaz must be quite happy. They have big smiles on their faces. They've just staved off a loss there. Barrett was a good keeper. He should be keeping ahead of Saha. Agarwal's probably going to have to go. Siraj is there, so he clearly with that. So Latham batted pretty well to get his 50 odd in the second innings as well. So Barrett pushing a draw. Yes, it's a good job for New Zealand. Yeah, New Zealand will be happy with this because they weren't necessarily expected to win this. And they got away with it. A draw match, there you go. It's unfortunate for India, for sure. The first session made all the difference. It did. It certainly did. Let's have a look. I'll just get a post that we've had a draw. So First test ends in draw. And then in the draw. Okay. First test ends in a draw. Bad light stops play. They wanted to do that early, didn't they? Well, it puts all the pressure back on the second test, doesn't it? Sonny Singh's joined us. Pathetic by India. A fast bowler with the Yorker would have thrashed New Zealand last battle. That may have been the case. We've got I think we've got a partner joining us. Certainly an unfortunate result, you would argue. Okay, we've got our guest here. Our partner is here. It's a draw.
Oh, I know, the bad light. Otherwise, India was in a good position.
They had won it, basically, hadn't they?
Yeah, sort of. But, always there's something bad luck. India
Well,
hasn't.
it's frustrating. I mean, India had 8 players out. Welcome, Aparna Saini. You're here. And you've got your cricket conversation with Aparna Saini joining in as well, haven't you?
Yes. After so long. Good to see you, Norman.
You look very refreshed. You look very, like maybe it's a good time of the day. It's about 10 p.m.
It's yeah, it's not like 4 a.m. in the morning or 12:30, something like that. I mean, we got over it. That was, but it has its own, grace about it that we can get up 4 o'clock in the morning and still do it.
No, that's true. I'm liking this. Although there's been so much going with Australia versus England preparation, there's an interview with Joe Root. In fact, I'll send that to you, partner. I want you to upload that on your channel as well, because he talks about racism. It's a very interesting conversation about racism. So it's a must for you to upload, because it's quite a significant interview. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I've done some interviews, getting the reaction of the fans when India tour of Australia was on, and there was racist comments on the new bowlers who was actually performing well, like Siraj itself, and it's really bad that any country comes another country has to go through it, and in sport like cricket, it does distract you on the field. I remember that Indian players were standing at the crease and they were hearing comments and it was distracting, so they're trying to ignore, and if you react it doesn't look good either, so that has to stop, and I'm always up for promoting something like that it needs to stop, and we have to take a stand for it, similar to promoting Indian cricket. I mean, that needs to be done as well.
Absolutely.
They deserve equal.
Well, I've sent you the video there. You can upload it. I only just got it myself. So, did you get it?
Yep.
So, can you do 2 things at once? I often do. I can upload and talk at the same time.
Oh well. So, I can try.
Well, yeah, it's a very.
How many phones have you got? That's why probably you can do it. I mean, I can't. I gotta get on that.
You keep dropping your phone, don't you? You keep dropping your phone, so it's not good.
Oh my God, you're not gonna let go of that, Norman. Well, things happen.
That's true. So we've got a few people joining us. Crick Shorts is joining us. Sonny Singh, Cafe 18 is just joining us. There's quite a few joining us here, so that's good. Well, that was frustrating. We were that close. They were very, very close to winning that. They didn't get it across the line. It's always a bit frustrating, isn't it, when that happens? Now you're monetized. Your channel is monetized, guys. You should be helping a partner now get across the line. I'm getting close to 20,000, thanks to the viewers and thanks to a lot of people involved. So I'm very happy about that. So we're moving in the right direction. We've got the Ashes series. I've got your clothing here, which you need to get. I want you to come and get a jacket done. We've got all these things that it's all ready to go.
Yeah, exactly right.
I
I mean, this
sent you
is
all
just the
these.
start.
I sent you all these versions and colours. Did you look at them?
Well, I haven't had the time to look at them yet, but yeah, well, I mean, we're gonna do something before the Ashes as well. It's a huge thing for Australian cricket. Um, and England looks more in control, and but after I mean, India and New Zealand, you don't think that India would be performing so good after, especially the T20 World Cup. And though it's a different format, but there are similar players who played. I mean, most of the team is same. So Australia must be very chuffed and looking forward to after becoming the world champions for T20. I mean, any sort of match that you go, even if it's a different format, you are in a bit of a better state of mind where you have won something and it has been really good. But England is a very strong team. So I'm really looking forward towards Ashes, especially for the fact that Ben Stokes is back, especially after his long, leave for
Yeah, it's going to be
mental
very exciting.
reasons.
Very, very exciting.
It
He's
is
an
that's the
amazing player.
intensity of it. It must be important, Norman.
No, no, I was just texting away. So I'm just trying to get a hold of a few of the people like David Graven and the like, and get them on the show as well. So, all right, now we'll definitely get you to get a shirt with your labelling on it, which you haven't sent me that yet. You haven't sent me the graphic for that, so to do that as well. So this was an amazing game. I mean, let's look at the scores for a moment. You've got the scores in front of you. Let's talk about the scores. The fact that, I mean, in the first, we mustn't forget, India did not have KL Rahul, Rohit Sharma. They didn't have, obviously, Virat Kohli, Punt. Then they didn't have Shami, Siraj, Bumrah, and even Bhuvi was also missing. It's eight players, which are all missing. And it was quite an incredible, you know, turnabout that you could have all those players missing and still go very close to victory. So India scored, in review, let's look at the scores. India scored 345 in their first innings, which was a very impressive one. We must take note of Rachin Ravindra and Will Somerville in the last innings of New Zealand. They held their team together. But so India in the first innings scored 345, with, of course, Shreyas Iyer, as you would have seen, scoring a magnificent century. His first match for India scored a century, which was magnificent. He was supported by Shubman Gill with 52 and Jadeja, who scored 50. How valuable is Jadeja to a team? Not only does he get 50s, he gets several wickets when he bowls. Amazing. So Jadeja and even Ashwin chipped in the first innings with their total of 345. In the bowling department, Tim Southey got 5 for 69. But then New Zealand came into bat and actually started brilliantly. Tom Latham got 95 and Will Young got 89. But then the rest of the team just fell away and they were all out for 296, despite having had a opening partnership of 151. So they were none for 151. They were all out for 296. And that gave a situation where that India were ahead by some. How much were they ahead? They were ahead by, at that stage, 49 runs. Then India went back into bat, and yet again Shreyas Iyer scored 65, and with Saha actually chipped in as well, and there were 7 declared for 234. So they basically had a lead of around 283 going into the last innings, and they gave New Zealand a chance. They needed 284 runs to win. Latham started well with Somerville and did very well, but they fell away. Kane Williamson was there for a while, but they were really in really bad shape. They're 9 for 165 and having only Ravindra in with Ajaz Patel. Ravindra batted for 91 deliveries for his 18. Quite incredible. He could well go close to a man of the match. It's going to be interesting to see how they do call man of the match, because both test debutants, Rachin Ravindra, who batted towards the end, and Shreyas Iyer both played well. They may still go with Shreyas Iyer as the man of the match. It's going to be interesting what they decide there. Who do you think?
Well, it certainly, breaks the sequence of 12 successive result tests in India. So the second longest such strike has been. So between 1988, I think 1994, it's unfortunate that, there were 13 successive results in tests in India. and this one hasn't come out to be one of it. I mean, with that only defeat coming against New Zealand in Mumbai, so which was the last time they won a test in India. I mean, in this one, I think New Zealand played um, very well. I mean, starting with Latham was superb at the top of the order. Then Samuel showed great application. Williamson, and his soft hands, probably,
Very
then
soft
kept
hands.
India at bay. So, and Ravindra Jadeja for Indian side. I mean, he's played. Is one of the experienced players. Sorry,
He
um,
certainly is.
Ashwin, sorry. Yeah, so he's been good. I mean, this could have been a result, definitely, but well, India's got bad luck, and so there's definitely we can say that it was nothing but short of a haste on New Zealand's part. Definite. I mean, sad, but yeah, there is more to come.
Yeah, this new wicketkeeper Barrett who came in. I think Saha must have been at some stage unable to keep, so he was brought in to keep. Um, he did very well. So Ashwin says his words were, we were bowling in good areas. We knew we had time, but light was always going to come up into play in the last session. It happened every day of the match. Test cricket is not one of those formats where you can come out and bowl good for 4 overs. I'm someone who wants to play this format. These are milestones that are constantly kept on tap. So he actually became the third highest wicket taker for India as well, didn't he? He went past Harbhajan Singh. He's only got Kumble in front of him in terms of spin bowling to be the best bowler for India ever, which he certainly is. And how he didn't play in the 5 test matches against England earlier this year is still beyond me. But anyway, it looks as though Ashwin's got his form back, and he only has Kapil Dev and Kumble to beat, and he'll be first. But at the moment he's third. Fifth, of course, is Harbhajan Singh is fourth, but fifth is in fact Ishan Sharma on equal points to Zahir Khan, and he snuck up there. We don't really notice it. In fact, did he get any wickets this match? I'm not sure whether he did.
I think he did.
Because he injured himself in the first. I think he injured himself fairly early on. Let's have a look here. No, he didn't get the wicket the first innings, and in New Zealand's second innings, he didn't get a wicket either.
Oh,
so
really?
he was on. He needed just that one wicket.
Yeah.
It's a pity for him, but he's still equal. He's equal fifth, and then you've got a few other bowlers, and then 10th is Jadeja. Jadeja is only a few wickets away from Garfield Sobers. It's amazing. Hasn't got as many test runs as Garfield Sobers, but he certainly has got a lot of wickets, and he bats well. So that's a great achievement as well. Yeah, this is Test cricket, not white ball cricket. We know that. And Ashwin was very proud of breaking the record, but he did say you got to get him out. And if bad luck comes into play, it's bad luck. And Tarun V thinks Ishan Sharma's time is over. I actually think they gave Ishan Sharma a go in this match to get that one wicket to then retire only behind Kapil Dev.
You reckon?
Well,
I doubt that.
They do things like that sometimes.
No, it doesn't work that way. That's don't take that credit off him by saying that it was given. No, that is really bad on your part, Norman, to say that. I mean,
What?
he deserved it and he took it. I mean, it is not given. Nothing is given in a game of cricket.
That's true. I mean, Ishan Sharma's had a long career and he's done well. He's toiled away. He's been a stalwart, as they say, for his team, and he's only behind Kapil Dev in terms of fast bowling wickets for India, that's an achievement. There's no doubt. So you've got 3 of the top 10 Indian bowlers in the one team. Ashwin 3, Ishan Sharma 5, and Jadeja 10. But they couldn't take the wickets. So Akshar Patel, on the other hand, Ashwin took 3 in the last innings, and Jadeja took 4. How's that? He got 4. He got 4. And Jadeja must be close to. If Jadeja had taken that 5th wicket, they won the match. He would have been man of the match, I'd say. They're not saying and man of the match is. Why aren't they doing that?
I think haven't probably is not out yet. I mean,
No.
they
But yeah,
must
I mean,
be.
today's he scored 50s, he's taken 4 wickets, he fields brilliantly, he's an incredible player. And Ashwin takes 3 or 4 wickets as well and bats well. So there's the reason why these two guys from the side. And Akshar Patel also took a 5 wicket haul. So they had the bowling attack to do well. They probably didn't quite have the batting. I mean, Shreyas Iyer played well. I wonder what would have happened if they had Rohit, Rahul, and Virat and Punt in the side. Would they have won the match easily, or would they not? It's interesting.
Well, there's always, we've got different angles to look at if there isn't a result or India loses a match. So, oh.
Aparna, do you know who this is? Is this somebody that I don't remember him? Is that Gurkharat Gill?
Even I can't seem to recognize you. Yeah, it seems like some younger version, probably from 10 or 15 years ago of Norman is sitting here. Yeah.
But if you call me
Did,
Rakim
did,
Cornwall,
did,
I'll kill you because they were. But
did they
Baram, if the
did they
others.
did they invent the time machine in Australia already?
Well, it's a pleasant time here at the moment. We've got the time is, it's almost borderline early. What do you think of that match, Gurkha? Aparna, you're in charge. You're the center person here. What do you think of that match, Gil?
Yeah, I think it's the right result. Somewhere India have paid for not batting with a little more intent or in the session after tea yesterday, and then the bowling changes that Rahane had in the first session. I mean, uh, India should have ideally started with Akshar with the new ball, because you have to realize with the ball going soft on a slow and low pitch, it was going to get difficult for the spinners to pick up wickets later on, which is what happened. And we saw that once the second new ball was there, how much the ball was doing. So yeah, a few tactical decisions, both in terms of on-field captaincy as well as timing their declaration, has probably led to this. But yeah, credit to New Zealand as well. I thought Tom Latham batted brilliantly in both the innings. Tim Southee, probably after Dale Steyn's performance in Nagpur when he took that 7 for, I thought this was right up there, or probably just next best to that performance, because he really had India in trouble in both the innings. And then yeah, like I said, there are four. I just tweeted that there are four players who could be the player of the match, whether it be Shreyas Iyer, Ravichandran Ashwin, or Tom Latham, or Tim Southee. All have made a good case for themselves.
What about Akshar Patel? He could also be in there.
Akshar could have been, but given he only took 1 wicket in the second innings, I thought the others did better. Ashwin also contributed 70 odd runs. He scored important runs in both the innings, and then took 6 wickets, three in the first, three in the second, and he actually bowled better than Akshar as well, even in the first innings. It was slightly unlucky, but yeah, these sort of results you have to take it, and hopefully, I suppose, like, this result is the last nail in the coffin for BCCI in terms of not organizing a test match in North India or Northeastern India, because not only you lose overs due to bad light, but you saw how much smog that was there in the morning session. It's not healthy. So I hope going forward, whenever there's test matches in India in winters, they're not in North India or Northeastern India.
Welcome, Baram Iran. Nani, how are you?
Hi everyone, Aparna, Gurkirat, and Norman.
Lovely to see you.
Or are you going to call me Rakim Cornwall?
Not today. West Indies. I don't know. West Indies playing today.
Uh-huh.
What's going on?
But I'll tell you what, Gurkha, did you actually see? You probably haven't had a chance to see the video that came out with. They've been waiting for it with Joe Root. The whole barrage of English press wanted to hit him. They want to talk about the Ashes. That was secondary. It was all about racism. Did you see that? You maybe haven't had a chance to see it. It's just come out. But he was hit by 6 questions within minutes of getting on there, and he's been very circumspect, very defensive, without saying too much. Saying we have to learn a lot. What are your thoughts on that? We haven't talked about that, girl, have we?
So I haven't seen this video which you are talking about, but I did watch parts of Azim Rafiq's hearing in front of the parliament, the parliamentary inquiry. And like I've said before, that at the heart of racism lies the intolerance of people to not accept differences, whether they be in terms of gender, in terms of religion, in terms of caste, or in terms of even skin color. So it's disappointing, but as the revelations have revealed, and there have been further what do you call it there have been further investigations. You can see that this is not an individual problem, this is a cultural problem. Even Azim Rafiq kept repeating that. He kept saying that he really didn't think that Joe Root was a bad person, but he just felt that maybe Joe Root or any of the white players didn't realize that some of their behavior was particularly racist. And that is why I said that it's a cultural problem. And some of those revelations in those inquiry were actually quite disappointing and hurtful to hear, because to know that you are a part of a team, and then when you lose an unborn child and then not have any support, that's actually quite disappointing and hurtful, because any of us could have been in that position, and you would ideally like more support from the players or from the people who you spend so much of your time with. So that was particularly disappointing, and not just on a level of discrimination or racism, but even on a humanitarian level. I mean, there are some things where you have to keep the personal aside and be there for the other person, even if you have some issues. Like even if I say that Azim Rafiq was not the best behaved player, or he had other issues in terms of performance, but when someone is having such a tragedy, you have to keep all that aside and be there for that person. So them not being there was disappointing for sure.
Just it's been announced Shreyas Iyer was the player of the match.
Good decision.
I think so. I mean, he scored 105 and 65, for God's sake. Even though the bowling comes into play, they're significant performances in your first Test match. I mean, even Rachin Ravindran in his first Test match survived at the end there. You've got to give him some credit as well. It's pretty impressive. I thought it was most interesting, though. You had 11 Indian fieldsmen at the end there with 2 Indian derivation players playing for England. It was an intriguing thing to watch. Did you note that? You had both.
Yeah.
It's quite an unusual dynamic there that you don't normally see fighting off a Test match at the end. The other thing I wanted to add was the interesting. Have you heard Josh English speak? Have you heard the new?
Yeah. I heard.
He's English.
He's
got a heavy English accent.
Yeah, he also said that he was supporting. He also said that he was supporting England in one of the previous Ashes, but now he'll be representing Australia. So yeah, I mean,
How bizarre
have
is
the
that?
classic. You have the classic example of Luke Ronchi as well. He's played for Australia, debuted for Australia, if I'm not wrong. Then played for New Zealand in the finals of the 2015 World Cup. So these are the things that happen. And I think it's good. It's good in a way, because it gives a different dimension to sport, where it just underlines the very very important message that sport has always carried, that it is a medium to cut across barriers, and it's important that that keeps happening in an ever dividing world which we live in currently.
It's true, but I love it though. I absolutely adore it when you have like Kepler Wessels, who played for South Africa and Australia. Those sorts of situations where Kepler Wessels said, "I don't care who I'm playing for. I want to play for a country at Test level. What a fantastic honour!" And it's true. We forget to play Test cricket. Some people say, "Oh, they're tired because of the bubble and whatever." I'd crawl onto the ground to play Test cricket. Wouldn't you? I mean, that's an incredible honour. I don't get that.
100%, I agree. I mean, it's been great to witness something like that. And as Norman said, I definitely agree with you.
Well, Apana, you could have played for India in tennis.
Well, maybe
true.
next life, I might play cricket for India.
All right. Well, Gil and Baram, us four will have a doubles match when we get together, whenever that will be. We'll have a tennis doubles match.
I
Well, I
can
don't
maybe
want Norman in
play.
my team.
I can maybe play badminton, but not tennis. Never played tennis.
Well, as long as you can see the shuttle, I mean, the ball would be not going as high up in the air, so it should be fine.
If you can play badminton, you can play tennis.
Oh,
Sure.
come on, Norman. That's not it.
Oh,
Very different skill sets, Norman. In badminton, you have to jump, smash. That's something I
yeah.
think you can do very well, Norman. You're very good
Oh,
at
I can.
jumping and smashing.
I'm graceful. I'm graceful. Gil, can you play? Can you play tennis?
Yeah, I can. But
Ah.
it's been quite some time since I played it. But I've played at a very low level. Not great. Like I'm not great at playing a lot of sports. But I can do the basics, and I think I can survive playing the sport. Against you. I think that much confidence I have.
I'll whip your butts, you guys. I will whip your butts. I will show you how to play. I'm going to actually, partner's a girl. I'm going to beat her too. I'm going to kill her in a game of
Well,
tennis.
I've seen you play cricket, Norman. You were out for run out. By the time we stopped clapping for you because you were going on the craze, you were back already. So, well, it's a little bit of a
Ooh.
footwork and running required in tennis, so I'll doubt that.
We'll see. We'll see about that. I mean, okay. Another quick thing, Gurkharat and Baram. I had an amazing day. I was at the memorial for Alan Davison, and I was in rarefied company such as former cricketers, the former Prime Minister of Australia, the Governor General of Australia, media dignitaries, trusting all these people. Oh my heavens, everyone's here today. We've got Siddharth joining us as well. Hang on. Are you on? Is he on? No, he's not. I keep losing. Hang on. I'm gonna get you on, Siddharth. Hang on.
I
What's
saw your
happening here?
photos, but Norman, yeah, in the memorial and
Hello, Siddharth.
Hello, hello.
I said big smile.
Hi,
What's the
well,
reason?
well, a New Zealand draw.
You shouldn't be smiling. That should have been an Indian victory. Let's be honest.
But Rachin Ravindra held out for 16 overs. William Somerville did a Jason Gillespie of 2004.
Yeah,
Played out
played
one
the whole.
entire session.
So, what are you saying? That do you think
There's
you're saying that?
there's just one thing. Uh, on the right after the toss, I'd said that New Zealand made a mistake in playing Somerville ahead of Wagner, and I still stand by it
Yep, yep.
because uh, Somerville's average, first class average is 30. Wagner's test average is, I think, 26, 27. Plus, uh, India really don't struggle against spinners in test matches as much as they do in T20s. Their defensive game is pretty good. And it was evident, if you see the number of overs which have been bowled by Somerville as opposed to the number of overs which Southey and Jameson bowled. In fact, Southey himself did a Wagner on day two
11
morning where
overs
he
on the
bowled
trot.
11,
Yeah.
11 overs on the trot. So, but I think with the way Somerville has batted, he's ensured that Williamson doesn't get the flag that he probably should have. But having said that, I still believe going to Mumbai, it's a pitch
On
which
that
will
red
have
soil, on that red
a
soil, you
lot
have
more
to play
bounce,
Wagner. You have to play Wagner.
and there's going to be movement as well given the sea breeze. So I still suppose that New Zealand should bring in Wagner, which will only make them stronger. And no doubt New Zealand is the happier side because Mumbai is a much more favorable venue for any visiting team. Forget New Zealand, for any visiting team as compared to Kanpur, because the bounce not only ensures that the Pacers have a lot more to play with, but it also makes sure that those who are stroke makers who have once got their eye in, they can get value for their shots. Uh, on a pitch like Mumbai, probably New Zealand had a chance to chase it down as well because there would have been bounce and stroke players might have flourished and they could have easily been dismissed as well. But in Kanpur, if New Zealand had chosen to dead bat it, which they pretty much did, they could have walked away with the draw. And I heard on commentary Sunny Gavaskar saying that probably New Zealand should have done better in terms of intent, but 250 plus has been chased in India only 5 times, and out of those 5 occasions, four it's India who've chased 250. The
Yeah.
last foreign team to do that was back in 1970. 1987, and
Yes.
200 plus has been chased in India only 8 9 times, and 7 out of those have been by India only.
India.
The other option was England. So uh, I find it funny that how, after Gaba and Headingley and Durban and a few of these chases which have happened in the last 1.5 2 years, that people think that almost anything and everything can be chased in the fourth innings. It's not that easy.
Not at all.
Guys,
Well said.
the elephant in the room, Norman, not referring to you. Like in Mumbai,
Well,
Virat Kohli coming in, who will go out?
There's only one
Rahane.
answer. Everyone knows the answer.
Rahane.
No one wants to say that answer. And
Rahane.
honestly, I think Rahane should have been dropped 1 year ago. I'm not even, saying that he should have been probably dropped in England or he should have been dropped in Australia. He should have ideally been dropped after the New Zealand Test series in 2020. The fact that he's carried on this long shows that the team had trust, but yeah, he's not done anything of note. And yesterday also, I mean, the ball didn't stay low. He just played the wrong line. And the first innings again was classic Rahane finding a way to get dismissed while batting so well. So that it's quite straightforward. I felt that even in this series, it should have been Hanuma Vihari who should have been playing. If India wanted to keep Ajinkya Rahane in their plans, they should have sent him to South Africa to play that A series, because anyway his record at home is poorer than his record away. He averages 36 at home as opposed to 41 away. So there are anyway a lot of other options that you can play at home in place of Ajinkya Rahane. His real value lies overseas, and you should have tried to tap into it by sending him to the A2, which you did not do, and you sent in Hanuma Vihari, who absolutely should have played this series.
okay. The elephant in the room is talking about Virat Kohli. Hang on a minute. There are 8 players that could have played in this match. Rahul, Rohit, Virat, Pant, Bumrah, even Siraj, Shami, Bhuvaneshwar as well, Kumar. That's 8 players that could have been selected.
Not Bhuvi, but
Okay,
I'd
let's
say
7.
India were 6.
Yeah,
Rohit,
but those
Kohli.
replacements we already know, right, Norman? Like Pant, will be in place of Saha. So those replacements you already know. KL Rahul would Rohit, they will be in place of the 2 openers. So
But
problem
Vivek,
is
Rahul got
if you want to
injured
keep.
just before the Kanpur test. He got injured.
Mm.
So that's why he couldn't play. But it's
But
obvious. I
coming
mean,
back
see,
to Sid or Aparna, like for Rahane, the case being like Mumbai being his home ground, will you drop him or give him one last chance? Many
where will you
people are
get the
saying.
other guys who's coming in? Kohli will definitely not open.
No, yeah, I mean, these home grounds and everything. I think it's just sentimental value, and we have moved way past this discussion. Uh, I mean, the last 50 Test matches, he's averaging 32. An average of. I don't remember any specialist India batsman who's played 78 Test matches and averaged less than 40. Uh, see, the more we dig into numbers, the more we dig into cricketing logic, the poorer case it becomes for Ajinkya Rahane, honestly. And with the kind of performance that Shreyas Iyer has given in here, uh, very hard to drop him. The only way you can play Ajinkya Rahane is you drop one of the openers, but then that is unfair on someone like Cheteshwar Pujara. If Ajinkya Rahane deserves backing, then Cheteshwar Pujara has a bigger case to be backed. What people also forget is that Cheteshwar Pujara across his career averages 6 runs more than Ajinkya Rahane, and he's also played more innings. Ajinkya Rahane has played 79 Test matches. Cheteshwar Pujara has played 90 Test matches, and there's an average difference of 45 to 39. And number 5 is still a relatively protected position as opposed to a number 3 position. So, uh, cricketing logic wise, there is no way that Ajinkya Rahane should play. But we've seen that things don't work out that way. A lot of times it has happened.
What
So
about
yeah,
Pujara?
yeah,
What
that's
about
what I said.
Kohli?
See, between Pujara, Kohli, and Rahane, okay, there are few hard numbers. Ajinkya Rahane has 12 hundreds in his career. Uh, Virat Kohli's hundreds away from home are 14. Cheteshwar Pujara has 10 hundreds at home. Virat Kohli has 14 hundreds away from home, right? Then if you look in at the averages in South Africa, England, New Zealand, and Australia, the best average that Cheteshwar Pujara has is in Australia, where he averages 47. Virat Kohli averages 54. Now, if you look at the period where those struggles come in from, right? Ajinkya's struggles are not recent. They've been there for around now the second
4 years.
cycle which
4
began.
years.
It's more than 2 years. It's roughly around 4 to 5 years. With Virat Kohli, the average is slightly on the lower side. I think it's 28, 29. But in between those innings, you have to see the the contributions he's made. In England, he had 250s and 240s in in the series against England at home. He had two very good 50s in second innings at Chennai. Then there was this that innings in Adelaide where he was run out, and even in the first innings in the World Test Championship, he batted well for his 44. So he's shown that he's batting well, but he's not getting those big runs. Same with Cheteshwar Pujara. Pujara gave you 350s in Australia out of 7 innings. He had 250s in England and 140. And the only series that Pujara's completely failed is the one
New
against
Zealand.
England at home, where he had only 180 in the first innings and then he did absolutely nothing. And what was even surprising that he kept getting out to Jack Leach against a bowler who he should have ideally done well. So that is where the problem lies. That with Pujara and Kohli, the averages are lower because they have not converted their big innings. But with Ajinkya Rahane, there have not been those 50s either. If you go back till the start of the Australia tour, there have only been 350 plus scores. So and even in those innings, he's offered multiple chances. So with him, there's also not even a pattern of dismissal that you can say that he can sort it out. It's more in the head where he's just finding out ways to get dismissed somehow or the other.
Okay, so what's the summary? What are we talking about here? Are we saying that we're going to have um, Kohli return with all the other players we've just talked about? We're going to have a situation where Rahani's left out for the next test. Is that what's going to happen?
That should happen. If it doesn't happen, that I don't know, but that should happen. That one change, and I suppose Ishant will be out because he injured his hand in on the
Bingo.
fifth day, and he did it himself. So Ishant going out and Siraj coming in is the other change that I see, and it won't be a bad change given the pitch in Mumbai. It will have bounce. It will have
Bharat
a
in
little bit
place
of
of Saha. And the backup keeper for South Africa. Bharat should be in place of Saha. He did
that should
well.
be the case, but I'm not sure if that will happen because Saha batted well in the second innings.
Oh, come on. Saha shouldn't be. Barrett would be best keeping in front of Saha. Barrett's keeping was fantastic, wasn't it?
It was. Ideally, he should have played this test match as well, given Saha doesn't offer much with the bat overseas, and you wanted to give Bharat that confidence. But now that you've played Saha and Saha did well with the bat in the second innings, I don't know. But I think two changes which are an absolute must. One is
Sorry?
Rahane
As
going
of
out.
no, I was just wanted to add on that though Saha did not keep because of his back injury, but Saha is a very good keeper. Like right now,
Yeah,
if in Test cricket, he is rated as the best keeper.
of course, no doubt about it.
Yep. Hold on.
Come in. who's got the
Yeah.
doorbell going?
I think the pizza has come.
Apart
What
from
are
that,
you
your doorbell?
celebrating?
I
The
was
pizza's
sitting-
come. Who's celebrating? A draw.
Sit.
Oh, Sid must
No, but
be.
who's in Mumbai? I think Sid is in Mumbai. Is he? I mean, close to where it was played. Sid, are you close to where it was played, the match?
For 6 hours away by train, Kanpur.
Oh,
We've got musical chairs
okay.
going. I'll put it back to the way it wasn't. That's
Yep.
better.
But
All
now
right,
we
so-
better be ready for more. Going back in time to 2020 or 2021 because of this new threat. We better cherish all these moments that we have. Crowds, good attendances. Because I think we are going back to that same world again soon.
So
Is
Sid,
the
you haven't
India
got.
South Africa tour called off? Any news there? No.
Not yet. Not yet.
Have you? I said you look like you've got like a halo. Have you got Omicron? Is that what you've got? Or
No. I've got a halo because it's the sun's right behind.
no, just Gil.
Halo is here, no
I
hair.
think that I don't know. You're medically. I think you have a medical background, don't you? No, you don't. But let's just pretend you do. I think I'm seeing Sid's got this Omicron look about him. This it's so funny the word Omicron. I shouldn't be nasty, but who picks these names? Omicron. What are we in some
I
movie
think
or something?
by end of next year, the whole world will know the Greek alphabet.
Yep.
Alpha, beta,
You'll
gamma.
know the alpha
whole
to
Greek.
zeta of coronavirus.
Yeah. So the whole world will know the Greek alphabet.
Yep.
I mean, as long as as long as we don't call it Rakesh Cornwall or something, then I'll be accused of.
I think it was some Jinping, something like that, and there
Yi.
was some.
They didn't want to get Yi in XI. They didn't want to.
It's crazy.
You know,
Well,
once
if it's
there was
called
a mistake by one of our news anchors. China's Premier Yi Jinping was about to come to India. She pronounced as 11 Jinping. XI 11 on live TV. Ouch.
Ouch! Exactly. Ouch is a good word. So, okay. Now, I just have a thought here. I'm glad to have you all back here. I missed Gil. I missed Sid. Baram, I kind of missed. Apana, I missed. It's good to have you guys back. I mean, I've been in Australia, England land. I've been watching the Ashes and carrying on the BBL and what have you. And then, as I said today, can you believe how lucky I was? I had a former Prime Minister sitting next to me, John Howard. I had former Governor General, Peter Cosgrove. I had heads of the trust, our state ministers. I had, obviously Alan Jones, a famous commentator, had Mark Taylor. I was in rarefied atmosphere. I signed this book. Would you believe I hand signed a book? And my signature was about 2 or 3 from prime ministers and ministers. It was quite special, very special.
You signed on the same page?
Yes. Yeah, have a look at the social media. I'll show you. And you had like Simon Torfel, of course, the umpire, and Arthur Watson, who was umpire during World Series cricket. Robin Bailhache, umpire during World Series cricket. We had all these former cricketers. It was amazing.
What was the book about?
It was about the memorial of the death of Alan Davidson, who was one of the best all-rounders in the world, of course. His entire family was there. He was in the 1960s tied test. Quite amazing.
Yep.
Gil, before you leave, give us your thoughts on what the test team will be next test. You're on mute.
One change for New Zealand: Wagner coming in for Somerville, and 2 changes for India: Rahane out, Virat in, and Ishant out with Siraj in.
Okay. So
Bumrah is completely out, right? They're resting him.
Bumrah and Shami are not a part of the squad. Both of them are resting.
and is Rahul going to play the next test match?
No.
No, he's also out.
South Africa.
And Rohit's out.
Rohit's
And
also
Pant.
not there.
Yeah, Rohit,
Rohit,
Pant,
it's not-
Rahul, Bumrah, Shami, all for South
Shami.
Africa.
Or even Thakur. Thakur's also not there.
And Punt's not playing. He's not even. No.
No, he's not there.
So are they going to bite the bullet and put Bharat in there full stop for the next match?
I don't think so. I think they will play Saha. Ideally, they should have, but given that Saha scored runs, and if he's fit, I think he'll play.
Yep.
Oh, I don't know. They need to have a keeper. I mean, this guy looked great. He was extremely important to the team. But I was very impressed with his keeping.
As far as Gloveworks is concerned, even Saha's very good. They needed to play Bharat to see how he bats, but I think they missed out on that opportunity. Now that they've not won the series, I think they'll play. They will not risk it. So Yeah, so only two changes. One is Virat for Rahane, and Siraj will come in for Ishant, given Ishant did not look fit.
Yep.
Right. Sid, before you now, you're going to leave. So, Sid, what's your thoughts? See you, girls. Say goodbye. Ciao, ciao. All right.
Yeah.
So, Sid,
Like, I
what's
agree
your...
with Gil. Most of the points that he made are like you can't refute them, because at the end of the day, it's still 0-0. The Mumbai test is a straight shootout. Somewhere down the line, I mean, again, the scheduling bit of Indian cricket comes to the fore yet again. You've rested 6-7 key players against the ICC World Test Champions. Now, after this draw in Kanpur, I think they have earned the tag of ICC World Test Champions, because yet again, that same debate, oh, they beat us there, we beat them here, that same debate starts all over again. But in Mumbai, the conditions will be very, very even. And if New Zealand break their 33-year streak, the jinx, that is the 33-year jinx in India, what a coup that will be.
I mean, it's actually a little bit embarrassing that that India didn't win this match. Why? Because it was Indian conditions. Everything was in their favour. I know they had players out, but they still should have been able to get across the line. They almost did, but they didn't. And
they're lucky. They're lucky that they managed to play till 4:30 in Kanpur, because the geniusness of Indian architecture in Kanpur in the past was on show. There was a canopy. There is a stand there at one part of Kanpur in the stadium, Green Park. By 3:30 itself, the light would start to deteriorate because the sun would go behind there. It's a great thing that we started playing, that at least the matches continued till 4:30, 4:35 in this era. If it was even 2-3 years back in Kanpur, the play would have been called off at 3:30 itself, because the canopy would block the sunlight, and at 3:30 it would be like how it is out there now, gloomy, dark. Kudos to that. But you had one good chance of winning in Kanpur, which is supposed to be India's fortress. They have, I think, lost only once there. Now you're in Mumbai, where the stakes are even higher.
It's very frustrating. It really is, because they seem to stumble and bumble in this match. They had the ascendancy from the very start. They got a reasonably good total. They got New Zealand out quite well after New Zealand started off brilliantly. They came back very strongly. Akshar Patel bowled well. They batted sufficiently well to get that lead. They were in the complete control, and they seemed to stumble and bubble on the fifth day, despite having Ashwin and Jadeja and Akshar Patel all firing. Something was okay. The loss of Ishan Sharma would have hurt. You have to agree, but
really,
in terms of having an extra bowler,
I think we'll have to give credit to New Zealand's grittiness, especially Latham. Especially Latham, the way how he batted in both the innings was brilliant. And remember, Ashwin is a left-hander's nightmare. He's got many left-handers out, but he somehow held firm against him in both the innings. Second innings, he did get out to Ashwin because he was in that zone where he was bowling brilliantly. Somerville, Rachin Ravindra, the New Zealand tail actually batted better than the New Zealand middle order, if you have to look at it.
Exactly.
Williamson, Taylor, Nichols, all fumbled.
Well, Ross Taylor hasn't played any cricket of late. I mean, it looked like he was truly out of practice.
Yep. Somerville in particular, I would credit Somerville's knock today as the base that gave New Zealand the confidence that we can actually save this. A first session, no wickets lost. India with their tail up, having just gotten Will Young through an unlucky non-referral of the DRS. India had their tails up, but look at the grit that New Zealand showed. India were bowling brilliantly, no doubt about it. Ishan's absence wouldn't have made that much of a difference, because we knew on day 5 in these conditions, Akshar, Ashwin, Jadeja would still be wreaking havoc. But hats off to the New Zealand tail, Somerville, Ravindra, and to a certain extent Jameson and Saudi, for at least batting on 20-30 balls, 5-6 overs.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it was one of the greatest test matches we've seen in the recent years, definitely. And it would be very hard when Virat Kohli comes in. So who do you think, Sid? I mean, who would they drop? Shreyas Iyer, they can't drop
Can't
him
drop
because
Shreyas
he's
Iyer.
performed exceptionally well. I mean, in both the
They can't
innings,
drop him.
Can't.
a
You have to
ton
drop
on his debut
Rahane.
innings.
You'll have to drop Rahane. Because Agarwal and Gill, either if you drop one of the openers, because even Mayank Agarwal has not had a good run with the bat. Shubman Gill, maybe yes, he got injured, so you will not drop Gill, Shubman Gill.
Yeah.
Either you get Kohli to open, that's not going to happen.
He
when
wouldn't.
comes
No,
back.
that's not gonna happen.
Either get Gill to open with, you may say, Shreyas Iyer, but that would be risky because Iyer is a number 3 guy, number 4 guy. So Agarwal, Gill, my 2 openers, Pujara, Iyer, Kohli. If Saha is cleared medically, then he comes back, or not KS Bharat. The rest of the bowling remains the same, apart from maybe, as Gill said, Siraj in place of Ishant. Because Ishant hurt himself and he's not fit also. And you need Ishant for South Africa. That's the key.
I'm just not sure. I don't think they've got the guts to drop Rahane or Pujara for these 2 tests. I think they're not
I
going
think
to
they
do
would
that.
not. The Indian team management would not drop
The
experienced
ideal
players
scenario,
because
the ideal scenario, see them for South Africa. If Pujara and Rahane fail in South Africa, game over. Game over. You can't persist with them for further tours of the World Test Championship. You just can't. But anyways, the next team that come to India after the South Africa tour is Australia. But I don't think they will persist because there are too many people waiting in the wings. And the bench strength of the Indian team is so good. You cannot, if the South Africa tour proves to be a failure for Rahane and Pujara, game over. You will have to look at another number 3. You'll have to look at another number 5. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's going to be. It's intriguing actually because I think the Indian selection panel will be extremely confused.
Yep.
They're going to
because
have
you are not going to play Hardik Pandya. I'm sorry. Pandya's
No,
days as a test cricketer are over. He's not offering you that utility with the ball. That injury is severe enough. So Pandya is out of test match reckoning forever now. Unless there's a drastic change in his fitness. Unless.
But Shreyas Iyer has to stay because he's the first guy to score a century in a 50.
Yep.
The top 3, Rahane, Pujara, and Kohli haven't done it for almost forever. It's been a long time. So you cannot drop
Here's
Shreyas.
a stat. Kohli hasn't hit a century ever since the coronavirus pandemic hit the world.
Wow.
That's been 2 years nearly. I mean, we've been
November
waiting as desperately for his century as much as we're waiting for him to win a toss.
November 2019, the pink ball test versus Bangladesh. That was the last he hit a century in any format. Any format. Be it IPL, be it T20, be it ODI, be it tests. But in that period, in ODIs, he still averages 47. And in T20s, he averages 71. That's the brilliance of Kohli. But in tests, 29.
This is interesting. And I kind of agree with Shuman Awashi here. Let's just assume Rohit Sharma and say Rahul back.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
You open with those 2. You drop Pujara, Gill goes into 3. Kohli at 4. You drop Pahani, Shreyas Iyer into 5. That's a good batting lineup. That's actually a good batting lineup.
Plus Pant, plus Jadeja, plus Ashwin.
That's a good batting lineup. I can see that if they're looking towards the future, that's your batting lineup.
Bye-bye Hanuma Vihari. What has Hanuma Vihari done wrong?
The poor bugger, he's like Agarwal. They've just sort of disappeared, haven't they?
It's like the Steve Waugh era in Australia. They were so full of great talents, but they just couldn't get a place in the 11, isn't it?
Well,
with Indian team management, they would never give a chance according to someone's playing good or bad. There has to be some sort of politics always comes in place, depending on the seniority. And other teams or other countries, you don't see it as much. And that's why even, New Zealand team, they're very well formed, very well, the organization or the management, the way that they operate, it proves that even in this test conditions, which seemed out to be a bit difficult for them to survive, they've come out and proved why they're the World Test champions. So it does comes off from the management decisions as well, and who's playing in a team.
Again,
It's
like,
not a one player game.
Yeah, I know, but
Absolutely. I
again,
mean,
Australia, England, and India often have this situation where certain clubs dominate team selection. In India, it's the Mumbai and Delhi circle. Those guys select which guys should be in, should be out. It existed right after independence in the background now, but it still exists. In Australia, it is a New South Wales clique. Anybody from New South Wales, boss, you have to get them in.
well, look at
In
Adam
England,
Zampa.
it's
He's
the
now playing for
Yorkshire.
New South Wales.
Yep. In England, it's the Yorkshire thing. So clubs and the power centers, where are they located? That will play an important part. It's not the case with New Zealand anymore. It's not the case, maybe to a certain extent, the provincial level in South Africa. West Indies, it's a different kettle of fish altogether. There are 40 nations in that one board alone. So you can't help it.
But there's no doubt that India are selected on the basis of who they want rather than who deserves it. But that batting lineup, Gill and Shreyas Iyer, to me, are the Indian future. And they've got to recognise that now. The longer they hold on Pujara or Rahane, the more they're going to go down rather than up. They need to bite the bullet on those two. Shreyas Iyer has now thrown the cat amongst the pigeons. There's serious doubts about Rahane and obviously Pujara. Those two are now under deep scrutiny. Agarwal's going to be the scapegoat, I'm afraid. I think he will be the scapegoat temporarily. So that's what I'm seeing. All right. How are you going? We lost Baram there for a minute. I think he should be back soon. But it's been a wonderful show. We've got incredible viewers. We've got a really huge number watching today. This is great. I think there's like a resurgence of cricket now. I think they've had their little break and they're back into it now. So good to have you again, Sid. It's great to see you. You're always welcome. And the partner is going to be with me for a bit longer now. We're going to talk about some other things. But the racism discussion, watch the Joe Root interview. He is hit hard with 6 or 7 questions before they even talk about cricket. Because that's the first time Joe Root has been interviewed since all this broke loose. He's been avoiding it. I think he's been avoiding it.
But didn't he mention in another interview that I'm not aware that Balance said that when he was Balance's housemate at that time in Yorkshire? I mean, I don't know whether it's casual racism or whether it's
but it doesn't matter if it's casual. It's still for racism, though, Sid. You can't call someone Kevin like they do to Pujara. I think that's funny. Steve or whatever it was, whatever it's called. I mean, the fact is that Joe Root's saying in this interview, listen to it very carefully, and upload it on your channel immediately, please, because it talks about such things as we have to learn a lot. He's not saying, in other words, he's almost admitting to not stepping up and handling it and letting it go. It sounds very severe, actually. It's actually a very severe situation. And Michael Vaughan put his foot in it too. My God.
Yeah.
But, he's still getting the commentary gig with Fox. He shouldn't. Anyway.
Norman, just give me just a minute.
Okay. Aparna, what do you think? You understand it better than anyone. You're in Australia now. You see it around you. Not that you get it directly, but have you had any racist comments, even jokingly said to you?
I think Indians are known as curry munchers in Australia. I mean, Europeans are known as wogs. So it depends on the intensity and depends on what level it goes on. I mean, but playing cricket and playing any sport, and the way it's been said, it's not in a nice jokingly between the friends sort of a way. That's why it is not nice. Because in India, when you come, we do say, guests is like gods. So when you go into different countries, we expect something, not even God treatment, but at least something closer to as a respectful country who is representing, a sport international level.
I mean, so, Aparna, if I have to say, in Australia, I'm sure in Australia, in England, in schools, there'll definitely be something called as culture studies or societal studies, whatever it is. You are no longer a mix of one community. There are so many communities that come to school. Be it New South Wales, be it Western Australia, it's not a supremacist culture. Despite all that, if that racism exists, then it's a deep-rooted problem. Then it's either ignorance from the players, because okay, if I go to South Africa, I'll read about okay, what terms are offensive. I can't call anybody a coolie there. In India, you say a coolie. A coolie is a guy who lifts your luggage from the train station and goes. But in South Africa, the coolie is actually a racist term. It's a derogatory term.
Right.
That's why when you go, obviously when you go.
But I guess the main thing is people traditionally have thought jokingly saying something is acceptable. I'm afraid it's not.
Not now, not in this era anymore.
You can't do that. You have to be very careful, and we're all equals. I mean, that's the bottom line. The most difficult comment that I find when I'm talking to people is I often ask where you're from, and they'll say from Australia, but they've obviously got, say, an Indian background. Now, that's not meant badly, but it can be taken badly. You've got to be careful, because if this person is asked every single day where are they from when they're living in Australia, it becomes tiring. Even though it's well-intentioned, it's just curiosity. It has to be careful.
I mean, because look at the wave that is currently going on in your Trans-Tasman way. New Zealand are planning to change their name to Aotearoa after the Maori name. There is greater acceptance of Maori. And look at how the Australian cricket team every summer now is dedicating their clothwear, everything to the Aboriginals.
Yeah.
The originals of Australian civilization. It's now becoming a culture of acceptance now. But in England, that doesn't seem to be the case. There seems to be a bit of a xenophobic, or maybe you can say schizophrenic reaction to racism. This is the society that ruled 1/5 of the world. Obviously, they would have had some kind of stereotyping or something acceptance of it. But no, you go even today, the Paki is a very common slang to racially underpin someone. Indians, Bangladeshis, Pakistanis, they're all called by that name, you Paki. It's either the stereotyping, the mass culture there through films or any other thing, the media that they consume. That's where the racism is, probably.
Yes, look, I've always, because I mean, not forgetting that I was born here, but in Australia, but I have got a name which is unusual, and I still get comments like, "Oh, where's that from?" And that really offends me. I don't like that. It's the worst thing you can say.
You're Norman, Harvey Norman. That's you should be proud of
That's
it.
different. That's not racist. That's just being on the store. So that's fun. No, but it's an intriguing thing, and I love all cultures, and I'm the first person to embrace culture, and I want the rest of the world to follow suit, and they need to do it quicker rather than later. And England's a bad example, I'm afraid.
When was the last time, Norman? When was the last Ashes that you can remember that so much off-field action has dominated, even before the first ball is bowled at the Gabba? I can't recollect any Ashes for that matter. Maybe to a certain extent, 1956. Before the ball was bowled, Lakers 19 wickets. There was so much talk about the pitch. Maybe that was only, maybe 1948, the Invincibles. Maybe. Yeah. But that was for a good reason.
Well, the Invincibles were invincible. They had to find something to shake their cage. I mean, Bodyline came in earlier than that, of course, as well. That was another evidence of that. But look, today, can you believe it? I'm sitting there. I've got a former Prime Minister on one side. I've got Simon Toffel, an international umpire, Arthur Watson, who was in World Series cricket. I've got Mark Taylor. I've got Jimmy Maxwell. I've got Jimmy comes running over to me and starts talking to me about my next show. It was hilarious. In front of, and then there was a guy called Harry Solomon, who's Sri Lankan. And there's a bit of I can't really talk about it, but the whole COVID situation in Zimbabwe, right?
It's bad.
It's actually worse than that, because there was word of a Sri Lankan team having one player, one of the staff members.
6 players. But it's 6 players have tested positive.
6 players have tested positive. You're right. That was I had that firsthand, and that's.
Can you believe it, Norman? Can you believe it? It's there in the news. because of this cancellation for the ICC World Cup qualifiers, Thailand, who had topped the qualifiers, they can't play the World Cup because this was their way to get into it. Now, Thailand and Sri Lanka will not play the ICC World Cup in New Zealand this time. Sri Lanka
know.
will not play because they didn't play anything after 2020. Because the women's
18
cricket
months.
scene now,
18 months since Sri Lanka played last.
they played on March 7th, 2020. That was the last time they played a match of any kind, Sri Lanka. Thailand were dominating, but now they can't play because they got the whole qualifying system's been scrapped.
But the thing is, though, Sri Lanka also have to be aware of the fact that they were ranked 10th.
Yeah.
Now, they played badly for some time before that. They did not help themselves too much, but they were probably going to make it through. We're probably going to go through. They're probably going to beat teams like Bangladesh, but now they're through.
Yeah.
Done deal.
But I think with the existing situation now, I think the media, once again, it's tough times. So I don't think we can go to countries we can cover because of this current situation now.
No.
What about the Ashes situation? I mean, are fans allowed because of the strict
Well-
border closures?
Well, Queensland's a real problem because anyone from the southern states can't come unless they're quarantined early. I'm going to the Adelaide test. John Dunk, who's a great friend of mine, he's booked 4 different hotels. He's got too many hotel rooms, so I'm staying there. I'm going to go to that. I'm going to go to Melbourne, and there's no Perth test. It's going to be Hobart.
Hobart, yep.
And I'm actually predicting a 2-2 situation. And the 5th test being in Hobart could well lead to England winning the series.
I
My
think it's
prediction
at
would be
Western Australia. No?
it's meant to be, Apana.
Strict
But how are they
border
going to get in?
closures.
How are you going to get in?
They're not going
Maybe
to open
it's
the borders
changed because
till
that's like
January.
next year, I mean, there's still time. It still says that it's going to be Western Australia. I mean, I don't think there's an official statement on that yet. Is
No,
it
it's
on?
too early, but it's going to be pretty hard to play. Thanks for coming, Sid. You've got to go. All the best.
Yeah.
Me
Thank you
too.
very
I'm
much.
going to go as well.
Bye, Aparna. Bye,
Okay.
Norman.
Bye-bye, Sid.
Thank you.
Before you go, Apana, you say. See you, Sid.
See ya.
Now, thanks for coming today. We've had a magnificent audience. We've had 50, 60 plus at a time. We've got several thousand having watched. Aparna, again, anyone watching needs to subscribe to Aparna Saini, as in Cricket Conversations with Aparna Saini, and to her Twitter and her Instagram. They're at Asani_02. Okay, we mustn't forget that. Thanks, Aparna. Now, you've got a job to do too. You've got a job to do. I've got shirts for you to put on. You've got to decide a colour. I've sent you the different colours. We're going to get you in outfits, spray jackets, which is you're going to need a spray jacket because it's going to be raining a lot. So, all right, get your logo. Let's get all this done ASAP.
All
And the
right.
election
No
too.
worries.
All right, Pat.
Thank you, Norman. Thank you for tonight. It's been great.
Thank you, Pat. It's been great too.
Cheers.
Ciao, ciao. Well, that's been great, guys. We've had an amazing audience today. We've had Gurkharat Gill and his amazing insights. We've had Beram Arami. We've had, obviously, the likes of Siddharth Vishwanathan. Obviously, We've had some great people on the show. I'm just not sure where Beram Arami is now, but he should be here somewhere. He was meant to be back. I don't know whether he's... what happened to Baram? I don't know what happened to Baram. I'm going to find out what happened to him. He was right. So part of missing her tag team members pretty. Okay. I'm gonna have to definitely let's just get where is Baram Arani? I'm just gonna see where he is before I go. Yes, that was a magnificent show. We had some great people on. Again, there's been a lot of there's a video out that I put together on the whole racism discussion. I'm expecting you to watch that because it's very interesting. And we've got obviously we've got the videos that are done with Alan Davidson's memorial, which are really interesting. We've got this video on India. We've got the little tidbits about India as well. Not forgetting the next test. I'm just going to see whether Baram. Are you okay, Baram? Are you going to rejoin, or you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Actually, my phone had completely conked out.
Okay.
So it just got. The show is still live.
Yes. etc. So with India, let's go through that team. Now, at this stage, Rohit Sharma and Rahul are not rejoining, nor is Bumrah and Shami. So those 4 players are not joining. Bhuveshwar is not going to play. Suraj may rejoin and Pant will rejoin. So the team will probably still. Will Agarwal stay with Gill, or will Agarwal make way for Shreyas Iyer? And then you bring in Pujara still in there with Rahane and Virat and Pant. Or will they bite the bullet on Rahane and or Pujara and keep Shreyas Iyer in and keep Gill in? It's going to be intriguing. When Rohit Sharma and Rahul both open the batting again, will they put Gill in at number 3? Keep Kohli at 4 and put 5 as Shreyas Iyer? It's a bloody good batting lineup. The only thing is they won't be able to put Pujara and Rahane on the side. That's where they'll have their issues. So if you're not viewing, liking, and sharing, please do that now. Please view, like, and share these posts. Also subscribe, as we're nearing on 20,000, which is an achievement that I want to make for this great group that we've got here. I really appreciate your time. We've had a great session today, by the way. Waiting for Baram to come back on, but realistically, this has been a wonderful discussion on the test. We're going to be able to bring this back again. No, it's just brought you back on, Baram, because we had a part of there, Gil. We had you. We had also Sid. It was a great group, wasn't it? A very dynamic discussion.
Yeah, correct.
And we had big numbers today. We've got a very, very large audience. So it seems like people have had a bit of a rest from cricket and they're back on again, which is intriguing. It's an interesting development.
Overall, definitely Indian fans are disappointed given to where the match came, and everybody thought that they would win. Especially after the first session, it even looked like as if New Zealand might win. Who knows? Like that was also a distinct possibility.
But having Ashwin, Jadeja, and Aksa on that wicket, which was keeping low, that really was there for the taking, and they went very close, but they didn't get there. Only 1 wicket from a euphoric win. Considering they've got 8 players out, it's a pretty good result. But
nine players out.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, really, it is a bit of a hole.
I would say, given the team combination that India had and way usually India even plays the first test, I think it is a positive way to look at. But given this is a 2-match series, this second match becomes very, very now important.
Oh, for sure, no doubt at all. It'll be an interesting test in Mumbai. There's no doubt about that. It only starts. What is it? I think it's December 3rd. Is that when it starts?
December 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. December 3rd to 7th.
December 3rd, of course, is my mother's birthday. She turns 90. Would you believe?
December 4th.
3rd.
Okay.
December 4th is my ex-wife's birthday. I won't remembering that.
How old does she turn?
I can tell you, she turns 50. She's older than me. She turns 59. Doesn't look it though, I must say. She's a very young-looking person. But anyway, so on that day, I will be in charge of an election area. There's an election happening in Australia. I'll be one of they call the polling booth managers. So I'll be in charge of a polling booth. So I'll be there fighting off the Liberal and Labor parties and what have you. So, all right. So India 345 and 234 for 7. In New Zealand 296. Considering they were done for 150 was pretty poor. And then 9 for 165. Really, New Zealand should have won that. Sorry, India should have won that. Really.
Yeah, one way it is good. If you see that New Zealand drew it from the skin of the teeth, or whatever that phrase is. Another thing also, what recently what I'm seeing, a lot of media is reporting how due to bad light, India could not win. But I find that because New Zealand played all the overs, like the overs got over. It was just like if the light would have, they maybe could have balled another 2 or 3 overs. That's what I felt. So saying that because of bad light India drew or India did not win is I think is incorrect. Or maybe are they referring to bad light throughout all the 5 days, which combined you can put in, there were a lot of overs. But 2 things I would say. One was if yesterday India did want to declare, then why didn't they play a little? Last 5 overs they hit out so that they would have got maybe 5-6 overs more to bowl at. Maybe they could have taken 2 wickets. That again, these are all ifs and buts. But today morning first session was, I think, which if you look at overall in whole of today's game is where it killed it with no wicket falling at all. Even if 1 wicket would have fallen, the domino effect would have taken place much faster. But the whole
True.
session going without a single wicket, that was, and that too with a night watchman playing, not even a
Well, Will
batsman.
Somerville, who's actually Australian, by the way. Will Somerville lived most of his life in Australia.
Okay.
Dinesh Karoy from Liverpool FC is saying he thinks Bumrah was missed. Yeah, Bumrah was probably missed. He would have been more effective. Ishan Sharma was unfortunately injured, but he was also didn't take a wicket in the whole match. They could have easily had it. I reckon Siraj was available, wasn't he? Siraj was available to play.
I think Siraj,
Pretty
even
sure.
Bumrah was available. They were just rested. Because Bumrah is very good at taking the tail end of wickets, for sure.
Absolutely.
Even Siraj and Bumrah both were very, very good at taking tail end of wickets.
But it's interesting though. There's every likelihood that these tests are the only tests to be played, because if India don't go to South Africa, which I'm afraid is looking much less likely, they're going to make, because
It's
really
actually not looking that much, Norman, because it was overhyped. What I understand that though the virus is more contagious, but it's not lethal. So it is more contagious, but it's not lethal. It's like very, very, very mild in that. That's what the South African doctors are saying.
Yeah, but it's not about it being more lethal. It's about it being more contagious and being a new strand. I think there's some doubt about the series. I mean, Australia wouldn't be going. Australia didn't go before, remember? Australia didn't play South Africa a year or so ago. Anyway, and as you heard from Sid, and I heard that too, 6 of the women's team came down with the virus. So it's
6 of whose women's team? South Africa?
Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka. Okay.
And there's some other examples of that they're not talking about much, because Zimbabwe was very badly handled in terms of their quarantine, and their bubbles were atrocious. Don't forget
Because
it is
India A versus South Africa A series are going on
as we speak, or is that yet to start?
Yeah, it's not been cancelled. They said that they will continue.
Interesting. Very
PCCI,
interesting.
in fact, that was yesterday's news that PCCI said they will continue with the series.
So Arnold Jingle wants my ex-wife to be a regular member of our daily shows. No hope in hell. I don't think that'll be happening somehow. Are you mad? It's hard enough having Shapali and all those people on it. And Pretty when she was an, oh my God, another killer fish. All right, we might end the show there. We've had great numbers. It's been a great show. Really, really. I think that bit of a break has rejuvenated everybody. I think they've needed a bit of a break. But I've been putting out videos galore today. All right, Bram, thanks again. I really appreciate your help.
Thanks a lot, Norman. Thanks, everyone. And do subscribe. And hit the bell button and click ALL.
I'm going to send you one of these shirts. I'm going to in the cap. Have you given me your address yet?
No. But can you deliver? Send it to Philippines? Another option I was thinking, maybe you can just give it to my sister. She travels. My sister is based in Sydney only.
Okay, well, give me the details and I'll connect. Okay.
Okay, let's see. Okay, bye everyone.
Ciao, ciao. Yes, that was a wonderful show. And Arnold Jingle, I'm not going to be getting my ex-wife. I'm not going to show that's one thing that's not going to happen in any hurry. So don't wish a 20,000K celebration. We'll have that very soon. The numbers are getting closer and closer. I think I'm about 30 odd away. It's getting very close, guys. In fact, it's only 34 away. It's getting nice and close. So I need 34 more subscribers. 34. Come on, guys. You must have your neighbours or your friends or acquaintances who can help me out there and get these small number of people. I want a big celebration. I would have liked to have had that today, but I'm 34 short. Let's get that 20,000 up, guys. Let's hit the 20,000. So view, like, and share the post. Hit at Norm Koch. That's for my Twitter and my Instagram. But my YouTube channel, Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochling, as you can see on my shirt and on my hat. Let's get more subscribers there. And people who generally want to love their cricket, make sure you share and get people to say, look, just join up. It doesn't cost you anything. And you can be a part of the future and hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, and then you're off and you're able to see more and more shows and join what we have a lot of fun doing. I think a lot of people do enjoy, which I really am proud of. And it's been really a lot of fun. Been a lot of fun. It's only a matter now of just getting this happening, getting these people to come along and join us. We've had a great series. Any other questions, guys, before I leave? Just ask away. We've had a very, very fruitful little time. Okay. Have a look at the list of questions. As I said, Dinesh, Karai joined after the arrival had you their pitch. Karai did have a pretty boring pitch, but it was kept low. It certainly, bowlers could have easily taken more wickets. Bumrah was missed. Rohit Sharma and Rahul, their dominance up the order would probably have been missed as well. I mean, New Zealand, 151 run opening partnership. They're all out for 296. Pretty awful considering where they started. That's for sure. That's a real pity for them. You'd argue that's they could have easily they could have actually had their sentence, but India did play well. They deserved to win. They simply didn't get across the line when it mattered most at the end there. Weather was a factor. So J Dash wants to join the discussions. If J Dash, if you want to join discussions, get on my Instagram and connect through my Instagram at Norm Koch. Okay. I'm posting I'm posting Australian practice videos. I'm doing it all the time. You should be seeing that. I'm posting it almost every day. Where is that American guy on live? So you mean Jim Farbanek? He'll come back on. He's a great guy. He's a good friend of mine, and he's always there. He's always been there. He's been a great, not only for 25 plus years actually. A very interesting guy. Has played a bit of cricket. You should watch the Alan Davison's, the history of Alan Davison. That's a rather big deal for me, that one. And you got the BBL. We had a bit of a discussion of the BBL. That'll be pretty interesting as well. It's coming up. Then you got the other video which we talked about regarding Joe Root. Certainly, his racism video. You have to watch that. That's extremely interesting. I think there's a lot to be said about what happened in that video. I think there's a lot. Let's just see how we go with that one there. That's a very interesting video, and you should watch that, guys. It really should. There's a lot to be said about that one. And of course, my little fun one that we had. All right. Okay, so there's no more questions, guys. I will be ending the show. It's been a wonderful couple of days with sessions, I must say. Amma and Raman joined. Amna and Raman, I don't know who that is. It's only in the last 20 minutes we've had. It's quite amazing. So any more questions, guys? 100 minutes up for the session. It's actually more like 110 minutes. Jingle, you've been on there for quite a while, haven't you? All right, guys. So view, like, and share the post. Subscribe. Hit the notification button. Share away. Get more subscribers. Let me hit that 20,000 mark. I mean, some of my contemporaries have gone well past that now, so I think it's been nice to be able to join them on that sort of figure. It's been a wonderful, wonderful series. And we've got one more to go. December 3rd, in fact, the next test match. Let's just confirm that for us. With SI obviously got the man of the match here. Bangladesh at the moment at 330 and 157. Pakistan all out for 286. None for 109. Sri Lanka 1 for 113. Impressive. Let's have a look at the score is there. Nisanka is on. I'm guessing that Rinawat was already got now. He did that for 42. Another good innings from him. And then New Zealand's situation, or at least Pakistan's situation. Abid Ali, who's now played 15 matches at 1,106 runs. Abdullah Shafiq has played one match, he's got 53 and one innings and 40 on the other. He's starting off very strong. It's a good start for him. So Pakistan need 93 runs on day 4 to win the match. And that's being played at Chattogram, which is obviously in, is pretty my contemporary in terms of age. I wouldn't know, you have to ask her that. I don't think so, though. Yeah, some interesting games there. So the next test match between India and New Zealand is in fact on the 3rd of December, which is only today's Monday. On this Friday, they're playing in Mumbai. Be interesting to see who they select and how they go with that. So a fair bit to worry about this. Gritty New Zealand hold on for a nervy draw and fading light. It's a good way of putting it. All right, guys. You need to tell me more about your question. Give me some questions and I'll be able to help you answer, because there isn't much out there about this match, and there should be a lot more. There should be a lot more discussed about this match. The fact that they're describing it as a gritty match, it certainly was. I would call it a gritty match for sure. I mean, to me, it certainly was a gritty match. Let's have a look at that. Let's look at that heading. Gritty New Zealand. Hold on for nervy draw. Nervy is a bit. No, it wasn't nervy. It was just. Would you say it was nervy? For nervy draw in fading light. It was you know, you have to commend the results there, because India really had the game to win, and they didn't do it. Albeit very close. One wicket they would have been in euphoria, but they didn't do it, I'm afraid. They just didn't do it. So you can't complain about that. If you didn't do it, you didn't do it. So don't forget to watch the Joe Root in the media conference there. Look at the situation with Alan Davidson's memorial, the BBL in Australia. Obviously the post-match of this match. Had a fair bit of discussion there. It's been a very, very, very good day. All right. New Zealand will be thrashed in the second test match. Well, they should have been thrashed in this test match some months ago, so you can't necessarily say that about a match that's just passed. Shewag, tournament team total. Okay, yeah. Are you talking about Pandya? No, he shouldn't be returned, I don't think. He's not deserved his place. He's been fair middling all the way through, and it's just not good enough. But it's good to have our audiences back. We'll be talking more in the future tests, and then, if New Zealand, in that series. And of course, in the you go to South Africa. I'd love to go, but I can't go anywhere with all this damn COVID rubbish going on. But I'd like to say that you can watch the Australian versus England Ashes series. I'll be there for the tests. I'll be live in a lot of cases as well, very happily so, and we'll have a lot of fun. It'll be a great series to watch. Australia England. Stroke rate underrated in tests. True. Yeah, I don't know. Could have brought it in her declaration. Yeah, maybe they could have done that, but they didn't. So there's no point in talking about coulda, shoulda, woulda. They didn't. Well, there was some negativity, but I don't know. I think that Somerville's innings probably was important. He was a very, very important innings that they had there. They had a very good run today. Good to have people back. Strike rate could have brought it in another direction. It could have, should have, would have. It didn't. Right, so there's no point in talking about that because it didn't happen. As frustrating as it may be, it didn't happen. Live broadcasts are always a lot of fun, I must say. Okay, all right. So debut Ravinder bats out 91 balls and New Zealand last pair hold on for almost 9 overs to deny India. That's a pretty big statement too, isn't it? All right, guys, we'll see each other very soon again. Hopefully we can get. Let's actually put this comment there. That's worthy of noting. Let's just close it. So, okay. Debutant Ravindra. Bats out 91 balls. So bats out 91 balls. And New Zealand's last pair hold on for almost 9 overs to deny India. To deny India, not to. And it's funny. And New Zealand's last pair hold on for almost 9 overs to deny India. There we go. There we go. Incredible. I'm imagining Norman getting on live at 70, 80 years of age. Yeah, Angela England could well be the case. If you keep wanting to listen to me, I'm going to be here. Yeah, I'll be here if you want me to. Why not? Okay. Seem to still have people still watching, so let's have a look here. Good to have people watching again. Great to see people watching. Okay, very good. So we had Aparna Sami, then we had I think Baramarani, then we had Gurkharat Gill, we had Siddharth Vishwanathan, some great people on the show. Once again, it was great to have you all there. It was one of those times when how can one person be a subscriber list? What's going on here? please again view, like, and share the post. It helps the whole show. We're getting 33 subscribers off 20,000. It's getting there. It's getting there slowly but surely. It's getting there, which is really, really happy. All right, so Aparna Sani was certainly great to have on. She had great earrings on. She looked fantastic, refreshed. She looks like she was in certainly a good state of affairs, and that's always good to have her on. So India, the batting lineup of India for this next test, with Rohit Sharma and Rahul out, you'll have to think that Gill will stay there, probably with Agarwal. Then you've got Pujara and Rahane in there, and Virat Kohli has to find a place, and Punt does. Well, Punt will come in for Saha. That's pretty obvious. But will Shreyas Iyer say he should? And then if he does, with Virat Kohli come back in, someone has to give. Will they play an extra batsman? Or will Rahane or Pujara get a day reprieve? Or will Agarwal go and Shreyas Iyer open? It's going to be interesting to see what they do there. I love your news. Keep going. You're working hard, man. Thank you, Neil Anthony Duss. Make sure you pass it on, subscribe. 19,967. I want that up to 20,000. I want it up to the today. Come on, you guys. You 13 or whatever guys are on at the moment. Surely you've got people in your neighbourhood. You can ask 1 or 2 people each. You'll get the numbers up for me. It's been a big bumper day for me. Is it 80th birthday for my mum? Anuj England is actually my mother's 90th, 90. She turns 90. Oh my God. On December 3rd. She was born December 3rd, 1931. Virat Kohli, yes, he's back. Yes, he'll be back next game, we're all hearing. Which is very, very important. Big, big day. Really, India should have won this test match. Betting New Zealand, the top side of the world. They beat them the World Test Championship only a matter of weeks earlier, or months earlier. Yeah, it was quite close. All right, guys, we might stop there. Okay, we're going to question there. Next match, India will win definitely. Pavan Raj Patel, let's hope they do. Neil Anthony does. Will Virat Kohli come in place of study as yeah. So, well, come in place of Shreyas Iyer, you're talking about? Or who will he come in place of? Well, they're talking about Rahane and Pujara again. Probably it'll be Agarwal. Place of Iyer. Shreyas Iyer shouldn't be dropped. He scored 100 and then a 50. They can't drop Shreyas Iyer. They may well do it, but it'd be very disappointing. Shreyas Iyer's come in and absolutely played out of his skin, hasn't he? Of course he has. Got any more training sessions going? Let's have a look here. How do the Kiwis hold out to a draw? It's a good question. They held up to a draw because they simply had more nerve, didn't they? They had more nerve. Enjoy the comments. All right. So 90th birthday, give some diet tips. And I'll follow it. Also pass on my parents what's her daily routine. Just to be happy, do a crosswords is what her routine is. Who won the World Test Championship or Cup in 2012? Of course, it was New Zealand over India in a match that could have went either way, but no, that New Zealand were pretty strong. Ross Taylor and Williamson played particularly well in that match, didn't they? And they held their nerve. I think New Zealand will bring Test Trent Bolt in the next test. I think so too. And why not? He's been one of their better players. No reason why they shouldn't be ringing back in. I certainly had a good audience type for today. Okay. Yep. All right. So, not comparison in my Emma's done it. Perhaps too early to comparing punt and punts going through a definite slump. Siraj would have cleared up that earlier because Ishan Sharma was an unfortunate selection then, wasn't he? He certainly was. He probably shouldn't have been there. But he only had 1 wicket to go past Zahir Khan and he didn't get it. They may give another test, but really that's it for Ishan Sharma, which is fair. If he doesn't pass him, so what? He's equalled him. Not many people have been watching. So Siraj would have cleaned up, Bumrah would have cleaned up if they were allowed to bowl. They wouldn't have been allowed to bowl because of the light. Next match, Trent Bolt will come in. Yes, I think so too. Neil Anthony goes, well, why wouldn't he come in? Of course he would. Of course he would. All right. Let's finish this, guys. All the best. Next team, I think it was December 3rd. Before that, we'll have more discussion about the Ashes. We've got Bangladesh versus Pakistan. It looks like it's getting pretty close to a victory. So Pakistan will get that one. And obviously then we've got Sri Lanka versus West Indies as well. So they're all happening as we speak. Agarwal and Rahane, who will sit out when Kohli's back? Good question. Agarwal or Rahane? I might actually have that. Let's put that up there, shall I? Agarwal or Agarwal, Rahane. I guess you have to put in Ethel Pajara's name in there. It's a fair question. New Zealand, okay, what have we got here? New Zealand with Matt Henry, Wagner, Bolt, James can rattle India early with. Okay, include it, Lockie Ferguson. Oh my God, it's a pretty good bowling attack, but they didn't play, did they? Anyway, the New Zealand fast bowling lineup did a great job taking West Indian pitches. They did. They seemed to really like it actually. All right, then it's about 20 Ks and a bit of get thumbnails in post ready. I'm going to get thumbnails ready. Look, you need to Angeline. Well, you get me 33 more people. That's your job. You've got to get those people. They grow on trees. Good numbers. All right, we've got 25 people. So the spinners, okay. The spinners' contribution to the New Zealand team was less than the pace bowling. I mean, the New Zealand spinners, yes. Sam, I mean, he didn't play. Did he play or not? I can't remember. It was pretty effective. AJ's was okay. Sodhi was okay. But the reality is that they've got some. And Ravindra was okay. But they got through the batting when they were most needed. So you can't knock them for that. Good following here today. It seems like the last wicket save was very important. Of course, it was extremely important. But then the Somerville's batting early on was pretty important too. Okay. Any more questions, guys? Because I think we've run out of time now. So view, like, and share the post. Subscribe to Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochner. Hit the notification button. At Norm Koch is my Twitter and my Instagram. Please meet me there too. If you want to talk to me outside of these sessions, hit me on Instagram and we'll talk in the messages there about whatever you need. And obviously I'm on Facebook under Norman Kochner, and on top of that I'm on LinkedIn under Norman Kochner as well. So Instagram and Twitter at Norm Koch. All right. So I think I'm just about done. Numbers have been good. All right, guys, we'll call it quits there. It's 11:44. Good night. All right, so stay tuned for the December 3rd test match, which is on Friday. In between, we'll do some lead up to that. We'll discuss players, machinations, and the whole lot. So thanks again to Aparna Saini, Baramarani, Gurkrat Gill, and Siddharth Vishwanathan. 4 people I had on the show today, which were excellent. Excellent. Great friends of the show. Great. Aparna's been with me for a long time. He's got her own channel, Cricket Conversations with Aparna Saini. Do stay tuned for that as well. It's too late. Bye. Good night. I agree. All the best, guys. Stay tuned and talk again soon.